Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gloryhoundd, and this is
DrGloryhogg. You're trying to trick me by going live while I was in the middle of talking.
No, you were singing, and I was like, what was that? What was that, Doctor? If you could just go ahead and sing that to me again, that'd be fantastical.
Hold on, let me give you something from last night. Okay. There, and everybody on Discord can keep ripping at me. They were pretty good. They were pretty good.
Gosh.
I think my favorite one was definitely the face you look, the face you get right after you pay for a, right after you get paid, and there's a new, the new Come On Kickstarter campaign. You're like,
no, you were like grimacing while it was happening. It was hilarious.
It's true. It did happen.
If you haven't joined our Discord, make sure to do that. The link is in the description, and you can see all the ridiculous memes that everybody made over DrGloryhogg last night. It was fantastic.
That's where all the sick memes are at.
Wait, someone doesn't look right. What? What?
Mm.
Do you not look right?
All right, yeah. Is it because you're wearing a sweater?
Probably. I am wearing my sweater today. I pretty much came, not in my pajamas, but it's pretty close today, okay?
Where am I?
I had things I was doing. DrGloryhogg is straight up in his pajamas, see?
Is that a leg? Is it in there?
That's all the behind the scenes stuff right there. Behind the scenes, under the table.
So under the table, behind the scenes, everywhere you are. That's
Hello,
where you want to be.
Kabuki Kid, and hello to the rest of our chat that is here.
And remember, when you're here, you're family.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We have Thomas, and we have Dustin and Andrew. I thought I saw, Stefan, Omar, Tristam, Battlecry. Oh my goodness, everybody's in chat today. Hello, how are you all doing?
It's like seriously Friday the 13th, like again. Didn't we just have one of those?
Did we have two of them this year? It would make sense if we had two of them this year.
I feel like that's, most Fridays have been the 13th.
100%, that would be make complete sense if we just had every, well, like they said, every Friday is Friday the 13th.
This episode sponsored by Walmart. I'll have you know, I think these were bought at a Target. The fancy person Walmart.
The Target, the fancy one.
Le Target.
All right, are you ready?
To go deep diving into the Mariana Trench or the Marinara Trench.
To get creeped out by the bottom of the ocean.
I'm not creeped out by the ocean. I mean, I'm not going there after some things I've watched recently, but still.
First up, we have Mariana Trench. This is by Bright Light Games. It's for 1 to 2 players. It should last about 10 to 15 minutes. This is a game where you play as, like, you have a little sub and you're going deep down into the trench and you're, like, collecting little creatures. And then it does seem very fishy.
Why am I laughing so hard at that? I'm like, whoa, got me, Petter. Zing! Nailed it. I don't know why that got me so good. Oh, the sound is on.
Oh, no, the sound is on. That's for later.
You can't be listening to this.
Get out of there, sound. How dare you play over us. All right.
We've never done this before. Thanks for coming to our inaugural show. It's our first time.
Thank you so much, Petter. So in this game here, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be moving your boat down to the bottom of the trench if you can.
Sometimes up.
Yeah, well, you're trying to collect sea creatures, but you can also collect research at the bottom of the trench. But it is a set collection game in a hole, you know?
So you have to make that choice. Like, do you want to add that to your set collection if you've got room for it, or do you want to use it as an upgrade so that you can get more or better, like, you know, animals later?
Absolutely. So what are your thoughts on this game, Doctor?
I really, really like the art. And I like the idea of, like, that deep sea, like, going and searching for stuff and just snagging stuff up with, like, subs. Because that's how it really is. You got to think, in real life, when they're down there, they're just like, that's a weird looking octopus. Yoink! That's coming up with us. Like, they do. Scientists go down there and they're just basically like, yep, that's mine now. And they just straight up take animals.
I also...
Whole animals just get snagged up.
Really appreciate puffy-cheeked sharks. And this guy has some cute puffy cheeks. He does have some puffy cute cheeks.
I like that the shark can't hurt you in the sub, but like the octopi, the cephalopods can. So if you get all up in there, like they can just tear you apart.
Man,
which
giant squids
seems
and
realistic.
stuff are crazy. Those things, those suckers are crazy.
The theme is on point though, right? Because you're on a sub, you're going down, you've got depth charges, there's cephalopods that are just like having way too many arms tearing you apart. There's rivets, which is like your health.
You can like shock them too. Like if somebody tries to attack you, you have like a shocking thing on some of the ships where you can try to shock them to take no damage and stuff. Like it's really well thought out with the mechanics. versus what's actually happening in the game here. And I love the art in this. It's very cute.
That is very much how it is too, Petter. You're like, that's a weird looking octopus. I wonder what it tastes like.
Ew.
Some good, some bad.
So gross. Okay, so
that should be our new rating. Instead of being like, would you back? It'd be like, can you lick it? Yes, you can.
No.
Once, and then you die.
You can lick any game you
can
want
lick
in your own collection, but I don't recommend it.
You can lick anything one time. Results will vary. Some things it's a one-time deal. Like I can do any magic trick once. One time. Any stunt, one time. I'm just telling you, these are the skills I have.
If you don't finish it, I don't think you succeed at it, though. I think that's the problem.
If I'm dead, will I know? I'll assume in my death that I finished it.
That you did it? You're like, nailed it!
In my mind, I'll be like, I totally got out of that straitjacket from underwater, and then I died of a heart attack for being too awesome.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That's how I died.
Are you eating it, or is it eating you?
It sounds like a very famous quote by myself. I'm going to quote myself here, where I talk about with animals and how if you should mess with them or not. If their mouth is bigger than yours, if an animal can take a bigger bite out of you than you could out of it, you should probably just leave it alone.
That's danger. That's a danger animal. And you just walk away.
Yeah, for the most part, it's pretty solid.
So I am not a huge fan of Under the Sea.
Oh, yeah. This is
true.
But
this makes
cute,
Under
though.
the Sea look cute. Yeah, which I appreciate. Not freaking scary. I'm not a fan of scary Under the Sea.
I like the pricing.
Sea is so dangerous. Oh my gosh. Okay, so pricing on this is, I believe, $24 for like the base pledge on it. Like this is nothing. Like $24?
Yeah, I think it is. It's pretty inexpensive.
It's very inexpensive and you're playing 1 to 2 players. I like that it's solo as well. So if you wanted to play just on your own, you totally could. Oh, look at their Funkhauser. There's the funk right there.
Yeah, I've seen better.
You've seen better Derek's? Is that what you're trying to say?
Nope.
What if it was Under the Sea? Under the Sea
Space Samurai
Western.
Yeah, like Coloma.
Like Coloma. That is not even close to Coloma, Petter, okay? No, you know what? Ariel was lying to you. There's a reason why Ariel went up to the surface and decided to get hitched to like a human on the outside.
That was Sebastian, the crab.
I'm just saying.
Under the Sea.
Under the Sea is not that great, okay? It's scary. There's a lot of bad things down there.
That's fine.
Almost all of it can eat you in some way.
Realistically, if you get that deep underneath the water without like a sub or some type of protection, you won't even see what's going to eat you anyway.
It's not even going to happen. Like, even if you get down under sea.
You won't see it.
And then, like, you want to come up, you can't even come up that fast.
Yeah,
because
you're dead.
If you get scared, you're just, that's it. That's it. You just die. I mean, but I'd rather play it in game form. You know what? Why visit the sea when you can just go ahead and play it in game form and then take your little sub down to your lovely little sea area and collect your little animals and get your little sets of them and stuff, as opposed to actually visiting the sea. You know what? I'm for fake sea versus real sea.
I think you're more apt to play like a solo game than I am.
Oh, definitely.
Like the only solo ones I've done are usually the more complex ones, like the bigger ones.
Hello, Mepper. How are you doing? I've still never seen the Little Mermaid, says Kabuki. What? Oh my gosh.
How do you tuna fish? I don't know. How do you tuna fish?
Wow. Tuna fish?
Yeah, how do you tuna fish?
What else was there? Was there anything else like really super interesting on here?
Oh,
I
Disney
thought
didn't
it was
lie.
pretty straightforward.
Fine. Well, I like just really the choices that you have. I think that's the biggest thing of deciding like what you want to do with it. Do you want to upgrade your ship for later, or do you want to go ahead and get it for set collection? As you can see, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can score points based off how you do your set collection.
Well, and you're going to be upgrading your ships as well as you go through, because I believe you can only like collect one animal first.
Yeah, you have to upgrade your hold and stuff.
Right, so you have to actually upgrade your ship as you're going down. So like that first time, it's got to have a build up to it. That first time you're probably going down, you're catching something, you're trying to do little things here and there. It's probably going to plan out sort of where your set collection is going to start at. And then from then on, you're like trying to progressively get better by building your ship.
You know how this works thematically, right? You're going down underwater and you see a blowfish and you like snag him up. And then you're going down, you see like another cool fish and you're like, hold on. And you shove that fish in the blowfish. Now you got yourself extra storage.
No.
Every blowfish is just a purse just waiting to happen.
That's not the way that works,
Yeah, that's thematically how it works.
No, that's not the
And then
way
if you
that
get
works.
yourself like an octopus that around, like you can tie 2 arms to your sub and then like have the other arms tied around the other fish, drag it up. That's how you turn fish into sub upgrades. You want better lights, you grab an angler fish and you just duct tape that bad boy to the outside.
You've been playing too much Maneater at this point.
Yeah.
Too much Maneater at this point. It's like a turducken.
See, Battle Cry
legit.
Yeah, seems legit. I think that's how that works. It actually reminds me of that game Subnautica on PlayStation where you're going underneath and you do that. You actually like use one fish to like filter water and like another fish you like do something to like make light. All kinds of crazy stuff happens.
I forgot
with the
about
fish.
this. I forgot about this. Okay, so they have
super
the
creepy
creatures.
stuff?
Yeah, the super creepy. Like if you don't want creep factor in your game, like don't get the expansion. But
Sunfish are like the largest bony fish.
you do
out
have the
there,
monstrous expansion here. That is
Yeah.
a free add-on here.
which I want.
Which you get the creep. You get the creep factor. How did they make the sunfish look so creepy?
They are kind of creepy. Megalodon, the Kraken,
Mm,
Mosasaurus. Yeah, you're dead. Mosasaurus is killing you. Plesiosaurus, my all-time favorite. That's probably
What's
one
he
of my
doing
favorite.
down there?
Before Jurassic Park, I'd probably say Plesiosaurus was probably my favorite dinosaur because I always assumed that's what was in the Loch Ness.
The Loch Ness monster?
plesiosaur,
Was
yeah.
a plesiosaur?
That's what I want it to be.
Is there a monkfish on it?
I didn't see
I
a
don't know.
monkfish.
I don't know. I believe that we do have them in chat, though.
See? 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Do, 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 do. No?
No. All right, Dr. Gloryhogg. Would you back this campaign?
I don't think so. I think it looks really cute, but since it's like a 15-minute filler game for like 1 to 2 players, that means I'd probably be playing it with you, and I don't want to play with you. End the show. We're done.
What?
No, I just
What?
don't think...
Hold on. Why don't you want to play with me? Is this because I beat you really badly? Like
on
just
Power
the other day
Rangers?
in Power Rangers?
Yeah,
Is
it
this-
was bad. It was bad. I don't want to talk about that. Let's move on. No, I think it's a solid campaign. If you were in the market for a filler game that you can just throw in your backpack and take with you to play, that's a 10 to 15 minute game. I am finding more and more that I do not play those types of games very often. So like
okay,
we have a
interesting.
decent amount of them, but I just don't play them.
Interesting. I think for...
So that's the only reason why I wouldn't back it. But if this is something that you need, if you're looking for like a filler game to kind of like fill out your collection stuff, I think this would be a really good choice. Definitely. It seems like it's got a good pedigree. It looks good. Funkhauser likes it. I mean, it's the only thing he's, you know, I mean, come on.
This is also a tabletop simulator, so if you are curious about the gameplay on it, that you can go to Tabletop Simulator and play it and kind of get a feel for the game before you actually buy it. I feel like $24, $25 is like, I mean, you would spend more money like going and getting snacks for a trip, honestly.
No, I definitely get that. I think
When you could just bring your game
the
to the
trap,
trip and then ditch the snacks.
I think
like,
the trap that we ran into in the past is going like, oh, it's so inexpensive. It's just like $20, $30. But then if you do that every week, it's like, oh, we just spent $400 on filler games.
How dare you? How dare you talk to our Kickstarter audience like that?
Well, like we have some filler games and we don't, I don't feel like we play them as much.
Petter says you could bring the game and lick it instead of a snack. There you go.
I just don't think this is one that I would play a whole bunch. But I think it's one I would play. Like if somebody else had it, I would definitely be down to play it because it looks pretty. It looks like it'd be fun to play.
Look at that cute little
I
turtle.
just don't know if
Look at
it's one
cute
that I
little
would
turtle.
carry around with me or not.
All right, so for me, I would back this game normally. However, I did not see any sort of content creators down there that were people of color or female. And this is a newer thing that we're kind of going into as far as making sure to support other people that do have content creators and people involved in the process. I didn't look at the art designer or anything like that on it just yet. But just making sure that we support games that support everybody else.
This one had a whole bunch of videos, right? Like 8 or 9 or something like that?
I think so. So that's my only like caveat sort of thing. Other than that, I think this looks like a fantastic game as far as like the art looks really good. I think that the play is going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of really interesting choices to make in the game as far as going down into the depths and then having to make those tough choices to leave things there or having the riskiness of getting hurt by that and having to upgrade your ship and everything. That seems really interesting. for a fun little game that you're going to be able to just throw into like your backpack, your pocket, whatever, and play wherever you want. Like, I really like that.
So Tristan said that there's at least 2 characters of color in the actual game itself.
Oh, fantastic.
I think she's talking more about like content creators though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Else.
Absolutely.
It's just always nice to get a variety of views.
Of different opinions from different people.
I have to say, I think I agree with Petter. I think Petter actually summed this up really nicely when he says, it looks like one that would sell itself really well on the table.
Oh,
but since it's a 1 to 2 player game, you have to really know that that's something you're going to play a lot, right?
Which right now, during COVID and stuff, like 2-player games are where it's at, actually. Because there's a lot of people right now that are stuck at home and they're only playing those type of games.
Yeah. No, and I think that's what I said. But I think it's not one that you and I would play a bunch. I think you would, because like you liked some of the other ones that were like solo games and like 2-player games that were smaller, like faster games. And I just don't enjoy those as much as you do.
Okay. All right, let's see here. So, let's see. Looking at the comments, this week was Pursuit of Happiness, Big Box, Burn Cycle, ooh, Mariana Trench, Rust Green Rup. There's like so many. If I backed them all, it would be $400. I totally get that, Mepper.
That's why you got to make the hard choices.
Expensive week. But yeah, no, I would be down to go ahead and back this if that were the case. But moving on, and thank you so much for Tristram joining us and talking about your game. If you have any questions about Mariana Trench, make sure to leave them in chat and they should be able to answer them for you.
Or in a comment under the video itself.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so next up here. Turn that on.
Scrappers.
Orbital by Hexy Studios. This is for 1 to 5 players. It should last about 60 minutes. In this particular game right here, you are going to be building your spaceship and then moving your little workers around your ship. And basically, like, people are, can fire at you, but also you're, like, trying to...
Shields and...
Yeah, you're trying to, like, defend yourself and stuff, and you're trying to collect space ores, and, like, I really
it's an engine builder.
Yes, I like the compartmentalization engine building of the actual ship, because you have, like, stuff going out, and you have to make sure this stuff goes out in the right way. Like, you can see in those cards right there, they have like one way out and one way in. So you're actually also building your stuff as you go along. You need to make sure everything fits. Space ores. Both. Space ores, you would use the space ores to actually go through space. Like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, okay, it's like this. Yeah, like that.
Don't you have an injured arm?
Why you gotta bring up my injured arm like this? Why you gotta bring up my injured arm like this? Absolutely, Tristram. Thank you so much. So what are your first thoughts on this, Doctor?
This reminds me of... So the positive is, this is by the designer of Terraforming Mars, right? So I enjoy Terraforming Mars. So like that was a big positive to me. That was kind of one of the reasons why I stopped to look at the video initially. The other thing is it kind of reminds me of another game that I played similar, but it's like real time. Is it like Roll for the Galaxy or Race for the Galaxy or something?
There is a Roll for the Galaxy one.
But there's also Race for the Galaxy. It was the real-time one that was super fast. I played it at PAX with Funkhauser, with Derek, and I think with Matt Fauci and some other people.
I'm thinking of like Tharsis, which I played on my Switch.
Oh, well,
that has a little bit of a same sort of theme too.
Oh, Galaxy Trucker. That's what it was. It was Galaxy Trucker, and I thought it was okay, but it might have It was probably part of it because I don't think I enjoy real-time games as much.
Right.
So I think I had kind of like a negative experience with that type of game, but obviously this is not real time and it's more of an engine building card game and everything else. So I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence with it. I don't know how I feel. I feel like visually it's just look okay. There's not, I guess it didn't build the hype for me the way I wanted to in order to get like super excited about it. Yeah.
Really?
I wanted, like I would play it and so here's the thing. It actually reminds me of Terraforming Mars. I was not excited to get Terraforming Mars because the theme and the look of the game wasn't super exciting for me. But then when I played it, I really enjoyed it. I have a feeling this is going to be a game that I'll enjoy more after playing it than I am just looking at the page,
this is really
right?
good. Right, okay.
But I'm buying based off this page. This page is basically a movie trailer, right? So if this is the movie trailer and I watch this trailer, I would not go see this movie in the theater. Doesn't mean I wouldn't rent it later for $3.
Overall, you are usually not a fan of space games as it is, so that probably doesn't help influence your decision on this. For me, I was super excited because not only am I building an engine, but I'm also trying to make sure that my people in my ship are in the right places at the right time, which puts like a whole nother thing on top of engine building. that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Because, like, you can engine build and be like, okay, this power operates this one, but then also you have to move your people around in there, and I thought that was really cool.
I think there's just like a disconnect between how the game plays versus how it's presented on this page. And part of the show is talking about the actual campaign itself.
Right.
And I don't feel, and maybe it's because there's so many big ones that like just really go all out. I feel like Mariana Trench was more enticing and like easier to look at and more exciting. Like I was more interested in that one based off of just looking at the campaign than I am in this particular one. But I have a feeling that this game would play well, but I don't feel the FOMO to buy it. Does that make sense?
That's interesting. Okay.
Because FOMO is a big part of Kickstarter. I mean, that's kind of, and that's FOMO is, you know, fear of missing out. The reason why you buy something on Kickstarter is because you're like, oh, I'm going to get this and this and this. Like, in this, you're getting some emissaries for being a backer, but I don't think there's anything in this that makes me like feel like I've got to like slam down money right now.
Did you see the plastic?
I did. Those were pretty cool.
Yeah, we got to get the deluxe crew members. We got to get to the, it is a Greg, right? The doctor is like, you're embodying Greg today a little bit.
No, that's not true. But the best is yet to come.
The organic glass astronauts. So, looking at these astronauts here, whenever I scroll down, I was like, oh my God, I love these astronauts so much. I love the fact that all the astronauts are not just people, that they're actual aliens and stuff on ships. Like, that makes me so extra excited for this game.
Ships on ships on ships, like that. Yeah, I know. I saw that too, the organic. So I guess that's saying, like, maybe there's going to be some, like, robotic astronauts in the future as expansion or something? Because these are the organic glass astronauts.
And I'm excited about hearing more about this cave-in expansion stuff here.
No, that's a different
game. This
So,
is a different game?
Yeah. So this game has actually been made before.
Okay.
And now it's being repurposed, rethemed to fit into this world, this Star Scrappers world.
Okay.
Right? And then there's the cave-in game, and there's, I think, another one, too, that's all in the same world. So it's kind of like one of those things. I feel like I need to stay away from it, because if I like one of them, then I'll be like, okay, we got to get the other two. I'm not falling for that again. Because I'll tell you what, I have the Century Spice trilogy, and there's only one of them that I really enjoy now. The one that I like, that's not true. I like 2 out of 3.
You just don't like the ones that I like.
The one that you
shipping
like the
one,
most
the
is the
pickup
one I
and
don't like as
delivery
much,
one.
yes.
I love the pickup and delivery one.
Your number 2 in that series is my number 3.
Organic as opposed to inorganic astronauts.
Right.
That's
Robots.
right.
That's what I was thinking.
Organic glass, polycrystallites or polycarbonates.
Oh.
Okay.
Look at Eric.
Okay.
He brought his whole brain. Eric brought his whole brain to the stream.
Good job.
Thank you, Eric.
Good job. I did not bring mine.
I wasn't sure what was going on. So plexiglass. There we go. That makes sense. So that would actually be a lot like those skinny minis I was showing off the other day.
Yes.
Like those kind of acrylic standees.
The skinny minis were amazing, everyone. Like, they're so good.
I hope that people see that and they really think about that when they're doing standees. So your options are going to be like the plexiglass ones, if you will, or you could go miniatures for an extra $40 or whatever.
You know what? I would rather go with the sort of plexiglass.
My wallet sure would too.
Yeah, because you get
the color and detail.
And you get so much color and detail on them, and
you don't have to paint them.
Well, you save space in your game box. Your game box, you don't have to fit a gajillion miniatures in there.
And I don't know if you guys know this,
flat.
but you don't have to paint them.
Well, that's a plus for board gamers, right?
That don't want to paint.
That don't want to paint, that aren't miniature gamers.
I want painted things. I just do not want to spend the time painting. I just don't have the time to paint. I like painting when I have the time, but I mean, if I get everything out, it's got to be a whole day thing. I can't do it for like an hour. I don't have the space to have like a workshop set up where I can go mess around for an hour and then put it away.
I generally prefer the standees if they look better than the cardboard. You don't have to paint them.
Petter's killing me today. I don't know. Maybe it's because I only got 4 hours of sleep, but Petter is nailing it.
You know what?
Petter is funnier the less sleep I have.
The funnier Petter
Petter is. I think it's like a real weird thing. It's a weird parallelogram, if you will. I'm pretty sure that's the scientific term for it.
That is not it. That's not it.
Gajillion miniatures. I do want a gajillion miniatures. I have so many miniatures that I kind of want to just get them all out, and set them all out and do like a crazy thing with them.
Think of it like if we had Arcadia Quest and Well, because we do have it. And then we had the skinny mini sort of miniatures instead of all the actual miniatures.
So, and that would mean...
That's like 3 boxes worth of game space that's being used for just miniatures right now.
We bought 2 separate things to hold our miniatures to help condense. So if they were skinny minis, I'd have a binder like this, like a 3-ring binder, versus having, like, we have 2 big cardboard tyrant boxes like this filled with miniatures.
Because you get the same effects, like you get the same feel from them, you know?
By the way, I bought another set the other day. It was like a special thing. You'll forget by the time I show up.
Wow.
See, JP just paints the cardboard standees. There you go. If I could paint well, I would do that. I'd get up in there and be like, I'm going to add a mustache, maybe a little bit of pink mohawk.
Oh my gosh, you paint the card. You're like, I don't like them in green. They need to be in black.
There you go. Like my soul.
Oh my goodness. Doctor, would you back this game?
No. This is 100% Greg, try before you buy. I really think that this one will surprise me with how much fun it is when I actually play it, but I just don't feel the need to back this campaign right now.
Oh, you paint mustaches on all of them. Yes.
Well, there's definitely games that have miniatures that are so cool you would definitely want to have the 3D versus the 2D. I agree.
Yeah,
I don't have mechs versus minions. Somebody should tell my boss that I don't have mechs versus minions, and maybe he will send me a copy.
I'm excited about this game. I wanted to back this game. This game, it comes in at $38, so it is not, I mean, it's in that sweet spot as far as like
space western. That is
funding. I don't want to talk about it being a space western. I don't like the feel of that, okay?
You don't like all those feels?
This is like, no, because like you're a space mechanic, and then you're a mechanic in space, and you're fixing your little...
yeah, like, was it Kylie? What was her name?
Jenner.
No.
No, that was not it. That was not the one.
From Firefly. She was a really funny one. She was the mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
She was the young one. She was like the youngest one of the crew. Kaylee.
There we go.
Kaylee.
I think it was Kaylee. Yeah,
That's
I think it was Kaylee.
I knew it was something close to that.
It's been a while since I've watched that. No, so you like
So can I tell everybody about that? The best thing ever. So my wife's favorite thing to do whenever we're watching TV, and I'm like, I'm getting kind of tired. She'll be like, next episode! And she like tries to always like get me to play one more episode. When we finished the first season of Firefly, she goes, next episode! And I go, oh, you sweet, sweet summer child. There are no more. It's over. And she was like, what? Why did you show me this stupid show and get me excited and then not tell me there's only one season? I'm like, I thought you knew. That's like geek lore. Like every geek knows this. And she was like, I didn't know about your stupid space western. And she was mad.
I was mad. I was very, very mad. There's nothing better than demanding next episode and then there being a next episode. It's the bestest thing ever. You should all try it at home.
Barbados Slim.
You should all try it at home. As soon as like the episode ends, just turn to your dog, your partner, whoever, and go, next episode.
To whoever. Just yell.
And it just feels really good.
You need to set up like your smart TV and just yell, next episode.
And then it like auto plays, okay?
Mandalorian is the new space
yes,
western.
Yes, it is, and I love it.
And it was mixed with like some Tremors action.
Yes,
this season.
Right?
So I was like, hey.
All right. So this one I was really excited about backing. I'd back this. I was excited about this,
Are you going to be
Doctor.
a 4 for 4? I'd back this?
I don't know. I mean, at the end I'm going to have to pick one, but I liked all of them. Like, I was surprised.
Huh.
Spoilers, I was surprised. I really liked all of them this week.
I've heard really good thing about Mechs vs. Minions. Since Game Trays did the tray for that, Noah, the boss man, might have an extra copy somewhere. If not, then maybe I can just cry until he sends me one.
And we rarely binge anything. If we manage 2 episodes of anything back to back, it's a rare day. It's mostly at night whenever the doctor is really sleepy, and
then I fall asleep, and then she watches like another 2 episodes.
And I just watch everything. I watch all the things.
And then when I wake up earlier in the morning than her, then I end up catching up on the ones I fell asleep during. Because I am a person that if I lay down, I'm falling asleep.
Because, and Doctor, would you back this game?
No. I already said no.
Where's my burrito for slapping? Where's my burrito? I need my burrito for slapping.
Oh, I'll tell you what. You want to know what makes you fall asleep? Watching her play Animal Crossing. And I have Animal Crossing. I play it not
Animal
as much as her.
Crossing makes you fall asleep.
As soon as she starts playing, I'm like, or kids cartoons, like the younger kids cartoons. I'll just be like, it'll be like, my little. I'm like,
do you think that that's built into the kids' cartoon?
I
Is the
don't
fact
know.
that they're like, let's give the parents a little break, and then like they put in like those REM beats in there, so like you
I don't know.
lulled
It
off
kills
to
me.
sleep with
It
it.
kills me. Down in Fraggle Rock, and I'm out. I'm out cold.
Oh, let's hear. Always falling asleep when we were watching movies too. It's absolutely the last, like, whenever it starts getting like 5 minutes before the climax of the film, that's exactly when the doctor falls asleep, like right then.
Yes.
And then you wake
The
up.
biggest battle towards the end
Yes.
is always when I fall
And then
asleep.
you wake. It doesn't matter how big the battle is. And then when you wake up, you're like, what happened?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can tell you the first time it happened.
It's a curse.
It was the Two Towers, right?
And Tom Nook is he's very sus.
Don't, you'll kill Petter. Petter's allergic to the word sus.
What?
Mhm.
Why is Petter allergic to the word sus? What?
Stop saying the word sus.
You just said it.
That's being really sus. All right. Elements of the Gods.
This is by Side Room Games. I forgot to write down the stuff for this one.
What?
It's for
Some amount of
two-ish
players.
to 4 or 5-ish sort of players, I'm
Mhm.
guessing.
Okay.
And it should take about
Some time.
45 to 63 possible minutes,
Huh?
probably.
Yeah. It's a very specific amount of time.
This is a game, though, where you are going to be controlling different elements in the game, and you're going to be putting them on the board, and then the meeples that are across, guessing Gloryhound's favorite Gloryhound, right? And then the meeples that are on the board are actually going to move per those elements, but you're trying to collect the most sort of followers or worshipers next to your monoliths. So you can
And you're
go
building
ahead.
like temples, right?
Right, you're building temples and like little gardens outside your temples and stuff, but you're basically trying to get followers because you are a god of the elements.
You had a
need
really-
followers.
You had a really good description of this. I have a completely different description of what it made me think of. What
Okay.
was your description of this?
My description of this is like reverse chess because
The piece is already out on the board.
yeah, the
for
piece
most
is already
part.
out on the board, and then you're putting pieces down purely to push pieces as opposed to like moving pieces in to make an attack. So like it's a very strategic game in the way that you're having to push pieces, but it's not like chess in the fact that you're like moving one singular piece and then that you're like building a defense of protection as you go along. This one here is more about pushing the boundaries of everything. And whenever I saw this, I was so freaking excited by how the gameplay was going to go with this game. Doctor, you go ahead and talk about it a little bit first.
So this reminds me of, or is it kind of in the same game space or category as something like Five Tribes, which I enjoy Five Tribes.
Yeah.
But Five Tribes can be kind of annoying to to teach to people because it's like, well, this guy does this and this guy does this, and if you move this guy over here, it does this. There can be some like miscommunications there. And it's kind of a pain to set up. You know, you got to set up your little guys up on every little spot and everything, and all the different odds. Like, it's not fun to set up. It's not horrible, but it's not fun. I feel like this has that same type of feel. Like it's in that same game space where you feel like you're manipulating all these different meeples around, building patterns, dropping things down, but it has like some more like varied items into it where you're trying to like drop temples and you're dragging like all the grays towards you, or you're pushing all the grays away, or you're pushing all of these ones this way. I think it's going to have kind of that same feel as something like a Five Tribes, but maybe a little bit more updated or interesting.
Okay, all right.
Makes sense?
That's fair. Let's see here. For me, this one reminds me a bit of Faye in an interesting way. Let's see here. Dr. Gloryhogg, would Five Tribes be more interesting if the meeples had mustaches? 100%. Now I need mustaches on all of my meeples.
I will have her go through all of them with a fine Sharpie
With
and
a little
draw,
Sharpie and do
draw
it.
little
Yeah.
curly mustaches.
100% we need
little
that.
goatees on some of them. So you're like, well, can't trust him. He's got a goatee.
That one looks sus.
It's a very serious condition. You're going to kill Petter. So I think it's interesting. I think this game looks like This is definitely one I would back.
So Side Room Games, though,
They've done some interesting stuff.
They've made some smaller games on Kickstarter.
Well, Black Sonata. Did you say you thought the other one was Orchard?
Orchard and Marquee, we actually backed and have gotten in and have played them and everything.
I liked Marquee.
Fantastic quality.
It's a solo game, but you're like a spy and you're doing stuff. I thought Marquee was actually pretty good.
No, Marquee was really good.
I always just forget it exists, though, whenever I'm just, like, bored. Like, so I never play it.
For a solo game, like, that's the most well put together solo game I think that we have that's just a solo game. And I stinking love Marquee. I don't even know how many times I've played that game, just because...
You did play it back-to-back there for a little bit.
And then, like, I would watch other people play it, even though I wasn't playing. Like, I was so wrapped on that game. Like, I really, really loved it. So I'm excited to see Side Room Games come out with something that is more than just, like, a one-player, like a solo player game, you know? And this is 11K in, and I think it needs to hit 15. I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this not doing better? And I would kind of want to hear from you guys as well, or you all as well, on why you think it isn't doing as well, because this looks like a really interesting game. And you're right, it's $49, like, and that seems completely reasonable with all of these pieces involved in it. And I know that they make...
it's a simple campaign, too. Just $50 for this game.
Right.
Or there's 2 pledge levels. There's another pledge level, too. But it's basically like, this is the game. It's $50.
Like, and they make fantastic games. So I'm like, why? What's happening here? This game looks fantastic.
So from my perspective, which obviously I spend a lot of time online, social media and all that because of the work I do, I didn't see anything about this one. This one just kind of showed up. I didn't know what it was. It just showed up. Now, in comparison, Tristram's the game that Mariana Trench.
Yes.
Since I'm in some of the Kickstarter groups and like the board game reviewers and media groups and everything, I've seen stuff about Mariana Trench for at least a month and a half.
Okay.
It feels like I've seen like a post about it like every couple of days.
So you think just bad media coverage on it?
I don't
as far
think
as that
there
goes?
was a lot of pre-marketing.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Just I didn't think about pre-marketing.
That makes sense.
In comparison, I saw enough stuff about Mariana Trench that like as soon as the Kickstarter came up, I was like, I already have a general idea of how this game plays based off of the art I had seen, the pictures I had seen, the posts I'd seen, the polls about the game. So like I had a really good idea of what was going on with it as soon as it dropped. Where this one, I just ran across it, and I was like, "What is this?" And then I looked, I was like, "And it's not bad, and it's not funded yet," which surprised me with all the different things going on.
Maybe what they did was because they did Black Sonata and Marquee, which were already like print and play sort of things that already gotten raving reviews, had already won awards and stuff like that
like
for
solo
things.
game of the year from DGG and stuff like that.
They were able to kind of ride the coattails on that, and people already knew about those things, so like they didn't have to do as much advertising with it, whereas this kind of came out of left field and we didn't hear as much about it, and so like maybe that's the reason why it's not getting as much like eyeballs on it right now, because I was really, really surprised. And Tristram says, I need to keep searching for Marquee. I need it in my life. And Dustin says the expansion is coming. I know, I'm so excited about that, right? So, yeah, I was just surprised.
There also is like this weird correlation, too, where it seems like Kickstarter shifted away from like that $50 range.
Yes.
And stuff like in that $30 and below range and stuff in like that $80 and above range seem to do better than that dead center $50 range. Even though $40 to $60 is what you expect to pay for most games at a retail store, right?
Right.
Like I go in there, I'm assuming most games are going to be from 40 to 60. If it's 80 or something more, then I'm like, oh wow, I didn't expect that. Or if it's like 20, I'm like, oh wow, that's a really good deal. I think that that's also part of it. But yeah, I just didn't see a lot going on with this one.
Even like Orchard that they made, which is just this little tiny box, was developed so well because when you pull it out, it had like the sleeve on it, and you pull it out and everything. Like everything was
in there.
Just so well made. The dice looked fantastic. You know, they had all the little fruits on them and stuff like that that were engraved in. Like everything was so well put together in that game. It's a very thick cardboard box and stuff. So I expect so much from Side Room Games now because I'm like, wow, they make such fantastic stuff. Like they just do such a great job. So I'm excited to see more from them, and this is right up my alley. It's a different style of area control in a way, you know, because you are trying to move them around the board and get things in your area to control those meeples to have them as followers. Like, I'm 100% down for that. So
Almost,
this is my jam.
Almost like a kind of more like complex like Candy Crush where you explode out to trigger other patterns and things happening too.
Right, right.
There's a lot of different things going on. I think this would be very interesting. This is definitely one that I would back. It just looks like it would be a good game. Even though it's abstract, it's got, I mean, if I get to play as a god, I'm usually all in. Let's just be honest.
Tristan says, I love the design of this. It is so
Very
clean. I do too, and I love the fact that you're using these elements, and the elements make sense. The water like pulls things in and stuff like.
The wind pushes away.
Right. It just makes sense with
There's
it.
a death. There's like death is in there where you get to like wipe people out. That's awesome.
They did such a good job with this. So
They did a good job. Even like the campaign looks like you can go down the campaign and kind of get a good idea of how the game works.
Exactly how the game works. Absolutely.
You
as
don't
you're
have to
going
have
through.
like a PhD to, I mean, I have one obviously because I'm an internet doctor, but you don't have to have one to go through this stuff. You can figure it out pretty easily.
Well, whenever I look at Kickstarters, I always look at that front video. Like, that's, okay, well, should I continue looking at this? Because here's the trailer. The next thing I do is I go search for the mechanics of the game. So I go straight down to these gift things. Like, I love it whenever they put these things in here where it just shows you, like, step by step kind of what's happening in it.
You look for what things?
The gift things?
The gift things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The gift things.
Do you ever look for the GIFs?
No, I do only look for the gifts. Yeah, just
Interesting.
the gifts. The GIFs are different. Those are a little bit more abstract, okay?
Gotcha. Okay.
So I always look for the mechanics of that. And although I love watching other reviewers' content and stuff, that's always my third portion of it, but I don't want to get all of the mechanics and everything from that because sometimes those can be lengthy, you know? So, like, I always appreciate having those in there. Giphy peanut butter is my favorite.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
So, Doctor, would you back this game?
I've said yes twice. Yes, still.
Doctor,
yes.
would you back this game? I didn't get a yes.
3 times yes.
I need it
so
more
intense.
like from here, okay?
Yes. Is that better?
That is better.
All right.
That's better. I would also back this
Classically
game. I
trained.
think it looks fantastic.
8th grade choir. Yeah. I kept it all right here because that's where you sing from, the heart.
Let us know
Or the diaphragm.
in the comments if you guys are backing anything, because I'm curious to see what all of you are backing this week. Okay, what's up?
I'm just laughing at everybody's
The
ridiculous.
comments. I'm not an internet doctor. I just play one on YouTube.
This isn't Play Battle Cry. I'm a professional YouTuber, technically. Once you get your first $1 in ad revenue, and yes, that's $1 a month we get for this. That makes us professional.
Then it becomes professional space there.
Yeah, it is. Now it's professional. It's an actual job, technically.
Next up, we had Bardsung. This is by Steamforged. It's for 1 to 5 players. It should last about 45 to 60 minutes. This is an RPG-style dungeon crawl game where you're going to be going through things. You have like a storyline that you can follow and stuff. The terrain in this game, I really like the fact that you draw cards to kind of see what happens in the future with your terrain as opposed to just having it all out and then you kind of know where you're going a little
they
bit.
said it's roguelike, which I think technically like Darkest Dungeon is considered roguelike, where you go down a path and that reveals the next part.
Right.
So if you go left, you're going to reveal this stuff. If you go right, you reveal this stuff.
It also makes it so you have like an ever-changing map. You don't play the same map every single time. And
when you go back, if you need to backtrack for some reason, like you hit like a cave-in or something, wandering monsters are traveling back down the path, and the wandering monsters are little footprints, so you don't know what they are until you go back through that door and you're like, oh no, there's a cave-in. You turn around and you're like, oh, poopsicles. There's a gelatinous cube over here. And then you like, ah! You see how long I had to struggle for that one? Like a word to use that was a props?
Why did you have to use that word on stream? That's like...
That's classic.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's all I got.
All right. So yes, you go, oh my God, poopsicles, and then
there's a gelatinous cube.
Yeah, the gelatinous cube
or
is there.
An
and
gazebo,
then
something. Who knows?
And then you
Please,
try to fight
Heather,
it.
do not talk to me about Shadows of Brimstone, because I saw that there was a used copy at a local retailer by us, and I wanted to buy it, but I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole.
Eric Eric is not prepared for this language.
Sorry, Eric.
We apologize for that, okay?
Listen, that was as PC as I could get. I used to be in the infantry. I could use the other words.
Oh my gosh.
Like.
Oh my goodness.
Poo-poo head.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Go to the corner and think about what you did.
Okay, that's fair. That's actually where she makes me sit whenever we're not streaming.
Oh, Cheyenne says, I backed nothing this week, but I did buy the last bottle of rum. Well, you know what? You're going to have a good weekend, okay? Either way, good weekend.
To be fair, I don't even know if what I speak is considered English language.
Gosh.
So.
Okay. So in this one here, I really liked also that the character setup was, you don't have like a specific class you're going for. Like you get to pick kind of what class you go towards and you evolve as.
Yeah, so you start and there's a recommended path, but you can completely go bespoke. And kind of go all kinds of crazy ways.
I like the fact that the setup is easier because they just kind of have things on the back of cards. So you can flip stuff over and you're like, oh, okay, like this is how the setup for this character goes.
So
and
here's
that's
the thing.
super nice and easy.
I don't know if like we just haven't played like a dungeon crawler recently. I'm actually excited about this one. I know, I shouldn't be because we have so many dungeon crawlers. And I'm always telling you not to be. So I like that you start off with a class and there's a recommended path, but you're not stuck, right? You're not like, you're the hatchet. I'm going to compare this to Gloomhaven. You're not like stuck in a certain role, right? You get to kind of diverge and go whichever path you want. You don't know the map until it flips out. There's encounters. There's like crossroads type events where you're like, you get, which they just started talking about in the Kickstarter update because hashtag I backed it on my Game Trace account. There was an update where they were talking about like the encounters where you have the choice, like, do you spare the boss so that he can tell you about some captives, like he's like, oh, there's some captives over here if you spare his life and you let him go, or do you just kill him and then the captives are just on their own?
Oh yeah, that was the other thing, yeah.
Do you take time to lay down a trap so that like the thieving goblin that's been following you gets trapped and you can potentially get a bunch of loot back from him, but then you're risking all the villagers that are being killed by the hobgoblins while you're spending time setting this trap. So there's some very good like moral conundrums that come up that you have to kind of like decide along the way that shapes your path, which that's what I always liked about games like Fable and other things like that, where like things that I do actually affect the game going forward. And I feel like this has that in it.
It almost seems like, I mean, if you know how like Dead of Winter works, where you have like crossroads sort of portion, it's almost like each room has a crossroads sort of portion to it where you flip over a card and then you see kind of what you have to deal with in that room. It could be that somebody's there to fight you, but it could also be like something weird growing in the corner and you're like, oh, what should we do about this? Like, should we go past it? Should we leave? Like, there's really interesting choices going on there, and that really made me curious about this campaign.
Yeah. And you know what else is interesting about this one is that it straight up has enemies that can have grudges. So like if you defeat certain enemies, like they can also level up and have a grudge and follow you. And you can play this as single scenarios or a straight up campaign. Because you can play each area as like a single scenario, since it's always flipping out and there's AI and everything, or you can play through it as a campaign with like, you know, each episode building off of each other and you building up and everything.
Plus you get a centaur if you back it. You get the centaur,
the Glade Strider.
Look at him. Stop selling me on this game, says Petter.
I know.
I know.
Trust me, I know. I didn't want to either. It's kind of interesting though, because it talks about like if you find a dwarf who's chained and you like can free him and you get a card from a locked, like from a little envelope or a little box, a special box. It'll tell you get a card. Then you take that card and you mix it into the deck, and then like later on you can discover what happened to that dwarf, like what fate befalls them as you let them free. I'm assuming.
So going into this one here, I did not want to back another big box game.
But look how pretty the minis are too. Look at that wolf pack.
The more that I looked at all the mechanics that were in this game and the way everything plays out, the more and more I liked this game. And I was like, dang it. I really like this game, everyone. Yeah.
And they're bringing in some pretty cool guest collaborators, too, from like RPG worlds and stuff like that to kind of add more stuff to it. It's already at 50-plus hours of campaign, like, at least. And I know some people have mixed feelings about Steamforged. I haven't actually played any Steamforged games. I've heard really good things, though, about Resident Evil 3 compared to, like, the first and second one, where it was, like, mixed reviews. I've heard
like they've learned a lot since then, yeah.
I feel like this fits in a very nice niche, like, where it's not as hard to set up as like a Gloomhaven, but it's not, like, maybe, like, as cutesy or as easy as, like, an Arcadia Quest. kind of feels like that medium weight, kind of where I feel like it's at. And it's not super grimdark either.
I just like the fact of having all these really interesting choices as you're playing. I think that's huge as you're going through. It makes it more RPG than it does board game.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
no,
but like self-ran.
Because you're going to roll a die. Like you're going to roll a d20 to hit, and then you're going to roll like a d6 to determine, you know, oh, if you hit a 4 above, it's a critical. If you hit below that, you just do 1 damage. So, and there's like criticals you can get off your cards. And you can only use your abilities like once, and you have like a shared pool of like your heroic actions that you guys can use together, and you can set up like your marching order. And I mean, I know this stuff isn't like innovative. It's like it's never been heard of before, but I don't know. I don't know if like the theme is getting to me where it's just you get to run around. The whole idea of this is you're running around saving the villagers by going down into these depths because you want to become legendary, which is kind of like the coolest thing ever, which is like, what, the tradition of like Irish people all over the world, like back in the day. Like,
it was a good combination of stuff. To
become bard worthy, to have songs sung about you and your heroics. And I mean, hashtag I want people to sing about my heroics, but they'd be singing about, you know, like how I lost in Power Rangers. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty.
Very valiantly though, okay?
It's true. Yeah, see?
Oh, let's see here. He's a legend. I'm backing this, says Trista. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Yeah, we ride our bikes in the winter here. What?
That's weird. That's weird.
We could ride bikes in the winter over here.
I will be honest with you. It's like 70 something degrees and I have a heater on.
Don't tell everybody all our... Why do you divulge all these ridiculous things whenever we're on Stream, Doctor? Can't tell people we're wimps whenever it comes to the cold.
But when it's 100 degrees, I'm still fine.
All right, so this starts at $99 for the box. You get a whole bunch of stuff in it. I feel is at a completely reasonable price.
And I don't think you get like a lot of duplicates, right? It doesn't seem like you're getting like 30, you know, orcs or anything like that. There's definitely some duplicates, but it's not like 30 orcs. Some of these guys, like look at that big dude at the end. Like what's he doing? You know he's up to something. And I might be stereotyping because he's a really big demon-looking dude, but come on.
I was not thinking of backing this, but now, my money.
I know. Oh, see, look, Petter's already giving me a song. Oh, DrGloryhogg was on his bike, and then he jumped them all so high. He cleared the fence with glorious air, and the wind whipping through his hair. I don't know why that became like Yankee Doodle or something.
So, DrGloryhogg, would you back this game?
Yes, I would. I
would also like to back this game.
Awkward.
Well, you backed it on game trays, though, so that's different.
I see.
So we have some tough choices to make here.
Oh, and by the way, there are game trays in this.
There are game trays
that was like the first stretch goal that was unlocked at, I think, at 100K. So.
Which it means they're going to be fantastic, like, as far as you're going to be able to fit all your stuff in there.
I will say that the designer of this tray said it will be, and I quote, "This will be my magnum opus."
What?
I don't know what they mean by that. I mean, I know obviously what magnum opus means. They feel like this game right here will be the crowning achievement.
This is going to be the one.
This is the one that's going to go on their LinkedIn profile.
Oh. So. Okay, that sounds nice. For my burrito, I'm torn between Bardsung and Element of the Gods. Well, yeah, let's get our burritos. Okay. Give me my burrito, because I need.
Which one? Is that the one with the weird eyes?
I don't know.
You get the weird eye one, because you're totally this one.
So, Doctor, what are you spending your burrito money on this week? So, it's Chipotle burritos or board games, okay? So
I can smell the guac from here.
We have Mariana Trench, which is about, I mean, that's like one night's out. That's like 2 burritos worth, okay? That's one night. You could sacrifice one night's worth of burritos for Mariana Trench, okay? You have Star Scrapers Orbital, which is like 2 nights worth of burritos.
Like 2 trips to Chipotle.
Okay? 2 trips to Chipotle with the guac and stuff, okay? Element of the Gods.
Still 2 trips.
2 trips, but like you're adding the extra chips and stuff like that.
You might get that, like the Coca-Cola from Mexico that has real cane sugar in it.
Or Bardsung from Steamforged. And we want to know from all of you, what are you all backing? I saw some people already talking about Bardsung on there. So for Bardsung, I mean, that's about a month's worth of burritos.
Well, it depends on how often you go to Chipotle.
If you go at once a week, okay, say you're eating out Chipotle once a week, like
what if it's
like
a 5-week month? They have those.
a regular, normal 4-week month.
Just saying.
That's a burrito. Well, it's going out to eat every week. What do you think?
Petter, I want you to know I'm doing this for you.
Oh, no.
Oh. That tasted like I licked an envelope. Why would that taste like this?
Oh.
You know when you lick an envelope?
You're not supposed to lick it. That's gross.
Why?
That's gross.
Bardsung. You know I'm going expensive.
I knew you were going to say this.
I know.
I knew it.
I know.
Of the 4, Mariana Trench wins for me, says Mepper. Stefan said,
we can't talk about like 2 weeks ago. We already backed that one. It's already off my brain. I'm not thinking about it.
We already did that. Tastier than a Chipotle burrito there.
Do not lick Nintendo Switch games.
That would be really gross. That would be really gross.
Yeah. I'm going to trust him on this one.
So Cheyenne says, game trays is a huge selling point. Absolutely. Like, we just got Gugong in, and the game trays in that game are magnificent.
I do know where this burrito's been. I got it from a Target. Bardsung. Another Bardsung.
Oh.
It's tough. And you can't split and be like, Elements of the God, so we can buy both. Because I know that's what you're thinking.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Elements of the God, we're going to buy both.
But there's going to be a big box of asking for troubles.
Why are you like this? That's next week's problems. That's next week's problems.
What about ISS Vanguard?
But I really want Element of the Gods, too.
Mm.
I feel like...
This is going to be tough.
Element of the Gods.
That is your number one pick, though.
That's my number one pick. Okay. Element of the Gods. That's where I put my burrito down at. Element of the Gods.
We're going to have to battle it out to figure out where the actual cash is.
We should play Power Rangers.
To determine who wins?
That's right.
Then I'll do really well.
Dang it!
You know that's how that'll work. Nobody licks things and puts them back on the shelves, right?
Eric. Ew.
I'd like a Star Scrapper's Orbital burrito.
Oh,
do you think,
gosh.
So whenever we start colonizing planets, what chain restaurant's going to be the first one? Is it going to be a Pizza Hut, a Taco Bell, or like a Chipotle?
You totally forgot about McDonald's. Doesn't McDonald's own Chipotle?
I think there was some kind of, I think they dated for a while or something.
They dated?
Mm-hmm.
But that was it. No babies or anything.
Well, I don't judge. Taco Bell with 3 shells.
How do you even go to the bathroom like that?
I actually don't have a YouTube account, Battlecry. I can't actually watch YouTube. I'm not allowed to.
It's like he hasn't seen the documentary on the franchise wars. We have not.
McDonald's already has at least 3 franchises in hell. That's fair.
That is fair.
That is fair.
All right, Doctor. We've got Hype Train tonight. We're going to be taking a look at Burn Cycle, which is another really big campaign. And we're going to be doing it for the first time with our first reactions.
With brand new eyes. I'm going to literally pull eyes out from...
No.
Just regular eyes.
No, regular eyes. Our eyes on Hype Train.
I'm going to be wearing her eyes to look at this Hype Train.
No.
No?
You can wear my glasses. You would look really fancy in them, okay? Burn Cycle still isn't about robot rabbits. I'm still out.
You can tell us anything because I know nothing about Burn Cycle.
Yeah, we don't know. I actually went in. I was really excited to look at it because I love robots. Well,
now I know there's robots in it. Thanks.
I went ahead. Well, I have to make the little picture for it. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, robots. I went to click on the video and it started up and I was like, oh my God, I can't be watching this. I had to like unclick it and stuff and close down the window because I started getting too excited before the stream to get excited. So I got too much hype and then I had to stop the hype and hold on to it for later.
When I was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Taco Bell was the only Mexican food like nearby. And I remember every time I went there, I was like...
That's because it was Kentucky.
I was so excited to go to Taco Bell. And when I came back from like Afghanistan and Iraq and I hit up that Taco Bell for the first time, it's like it gave me a gift. I spent most of that gift in the bathroom.
Yeah, that you can take to the restroom later.
It was delicious. It was the gift that kept on giving. I'm pretty sure I got worms.
Is there anything else that we have to talk about?
We probably have a bunch of games coming up. This is not a complaint.
Everybody's delivering at this point, everyone. So
I'm expecting like Everdell to come in like anytime. Etherfields. We just got Tidal Blades in. We still have Gudong that we haven't even cracked open. I mean, it's been cracked open, but we haven't played it.
Yeah, but we haven't had a chance to play it yet.
There's a lot.
And expecting
Does
that...
everybody want us to play Asking for Troubles for the people that haven't seen it?
Oh,
Like, we could play that, too.
That's a good one, too. Yeah. So we're kind of trying to figure out what we are going to be doing lineup-wise, and it might be worth it doing another thing for our Patreon.
All right, here's
backers.
the deal. Also, here, comments on YouTube. If you leave us a comment with, like, Asking for Troubles, Tidal Blades, Gugong, like, you know, if Etherfield or Dwellings of Eldervale come in time.
Yeah.
They come in, like, today, basically. We could potentially get them on there also.
So we can kind of see what all of you want to see, so then we can make sure we get that on our channel,
The
okay?
tiling's going good. Do you
Oh,
know that you have to
yeah.
let tile cure? This is a racket.
It looks so good, everyone.
You put stuff
it looks
down,
so good.
then he lets it cure. Then you put like another thing down, and then you gotta let it cure. And then they're like, now you have to seal it and let that cure. That's what's taking more time than anything else. That, and we could, every time we do like a patch, then we have to like move everything onto that patch.
Yeah,
And then we can
so
do like another section.
since it's our front room, it's the majority of our space in our house. So we've had
biggest
to
room.
move everything into all the other rooms. And so it's been really tough trying to like Jenga stuff around in the house, trying to get the tile done. So it's taking longer than expected, but
I also have the 2 new expansions for It's a Wonderful World. I think
we gotta do that.
I think the embargo's up where we could play the legacy one,
We
like the
gotta do
one
that.
that's like campaigny, but I don't think you can do the other expansion yet.
Hello, Hexy. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see, you're swooning from all your hard work over the fumes of the vapor.
She doesn't read my Facebook. We're not Facebook friends, so she doesn't even know what I posted about.
What did you post?
See? She has no idea.
What did you post? Now I'm going to go look at it.
I posted it like 5 in the morning or 6 or something. I woke up so early.
Oh, yeah, to go ahead and try to do some painting and stuff like that. Yes, you did come at the end again. You did, Hexy. But we still appreciate you coming. Plus, I like injured my arm a little bit, so it's been a little bit slower. But we'll take pictures of the tiling that we're doing.
I also
and
injured my arm, so she will have to do the rest for me.
I'm hoping to finish. I just want to get it finished so I can like take more pictures, do more of the social media stuff that I need to be
So
doing.
we can set up our game table again and play like the games.
Yes, I just want to play games on the game table.
Also known as the kitchen table from Walmart. Thanks,
All
Battle
right,
Cry.
so everybody make sure to like and subscribe, share this with your friends, and ring that bell so you get notified whenever we go live. We really appreciate that.
We're bringing Hexy back.
Ow. Is there anything else? I think that's all. Yeah, and make sure to check us out tonight for the hype train for Burn Cycle. It's on Tabletop Backer Party. I actually added all of our Tabletop Backer Party stuff to our YouTube page. So
On
if
our
you just
playlist.
scroll down, on our main page, you can get all the way down to the videos, and it shows all of our playthroughs that we've done on other channels, as well as our hype train on Tabletop Backer Party. So you guys you just got to go to one place, then you start clicking on the bottom there, okay? So I did that all for you. Other than that, we will see all of you next week. Bye.
Bye.